I'm going to go on to talk about CYTown and the idea, how it came about. Start there.
So CYTown at its raw, at the very basic, is a new solution for an old problem. Okay, and the old problem is Dr. Hilton was an unbelievable visionary, and how he ever got Sheeman, Stevens, Fisher, and Hilton built in a swamp 60 years ago is mind-boggling. Because I'm knowing how hard it is for us right now, and I can't even imagine back then. Because when he was doing it back then, like, nobody had any of that stuff, right? You know, who's been to Des Moines to the Civic Center to go see Hamilton or whatever, right? Okay, Jeff, who runs that place, was a student worker at Iowa State, at Sheeman, at the Iowa State Center, before Des Moines had ever even thought of building a Civic Center. That's how far ahead Ames, Iowa was, okay? And so, unfortunately, not unlike most state schools, we're really good at building stuff, but we're really crappy at maintaining stuff. And part of that is the funding model, right? You go get donors to help you build shiny things, and it's really hard to get people to give you money to put in new plumbing, okay? And so here we find ourselves 60 years later where those facilities are either obsolete or in various bad forms of disrepair.
Sure.
Sheeman's a great building. It was a conference center 60 years ago when it was not open space but little rooms, and they got a deal on concrete forms 60 years ago. They put it everywhere. Okay. I joke and say, anybody here in the trades, like building things, builders? Yeah. Okay. There's load-bearing walls and there's load-bearing walls. And Sheeman's got load-bearing walls. You're not moving walls. I mean, those are concrete. If we ever get bombed, you can get in line behind me. Okay. Because I'm hanging out.
Okay.
But so the university just didn't have a solution. And Dr. Winterstein became president, and athletics, we were at a point in time where we're trying to figure out how to generate more money, kind of running out of ticket options, but people love where they park, right? And so we didn't have control of the parking lots, other than the two, one north of Hilton and one south of Hilton. And we had redone those, and it created more space and generated more money. So I went to Dr. Winterstein and said, athletics wants to take over all the parking. And she said, that's a great idea, but they come with the buildings. Now that was a joke, guys, but that's what she said. So it meant we had to take on all those buildings. And so I remember when I came back to the athletics department and told our staff, I got good news and good news.
Right.
The good news is we got the parking lots. And they're like, yeah, it's awesome. And I said, then they come with the buildings. And they're like, what, are you an idiot? We know nothing about that. And I said, you're right, but we do know how to run buildings. I don't really care to, it's not us that'll decide what plays or what musicals. That's why we have an outside management company. But we do get buildings. And so that's where CYTown was born. Because then we started going, okay, now we got parking lots. So what do we want to do with parking lots? Well, what else can we do besides park for football games and the basketball games? And that one thing led to the next, and now here we are. We're about 2/3 of the way done with the infrastructure, so by the end of August, we're going to have some really nice parking lots everywhere that are elevated out of the floodplain. And as I told Dr. Winterstein, if we never build a building on top of them, somebody someday will say, whose great idea was to put all that infrastructure underneath? Because now it's all there in case you want to build. But we are going to build.
You're going to build. Okay.
So we are McFarland.
There you go, David.
So the parking lots, all the infrastructure will be done by August. McFarland Clinic, they're building a Taj Mahal. I mean, it's gone from 50,000 square feet to 75,000 square feet. They're going to have urgent care, peds, orthopedics, family practice, mental health, 1,100 appointments a day that they will run through that building. 3 stories, and that's awesome for the complex because it's 1,100 more people coming that need a coffee or a restaurant or a Ames Lager.
Yeah.
Right, Joe?
There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
We're gonna get Wesco there eventually.
That's right.
And then, we're in the middle of what they call an RFI process, which is we solicited developers to come in and talk to us about, what they would do if they took portions of this. And so we hopefully will be wrapping that up here by the end of the month. And then have a developer on board, have them start working on the rest of the vertical. And then we're also trying to raise the money for what we believe is another great asset, which would be an outdoor amphitheater on the north end, kind of
Okay.
like the Power Lake District.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask you, what does that look like game days, like Saturdays?
When you mean when it's all built?
When it's all built.
It'd be wild. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, okay. That's what we want to hear. Like that's what it's gonna be.
And on non-game days, it'll be.
Well, right.
That's the idea. Is you want it to be something that's more than 7 days a year. You want it to be, 7 days a week.
Sure.
So, so a lot will depend what's in their space,
Mhm.
but it'll be a combination of retail, housing, office, hotel,
Okay.
amphitheater, hopefully.
Yep.